What is up, guys? Welcome to another video. Another video means another dopamine rush because I had to buy something that feels something, and today we are back. I know that I did the City Hunter and the Jungle Hunter video, and those got really well received, and then I just kind of disappeared, so I apologize for that. For those who are new to the channel, I am here. I have a NECA video. It's not Predator, it's Alien. Hopefully you're also an Alien fan and you will enjoy this video. But before we get into that, just, you know, hey, school is starting, and videos will be being put out less frequent, so I do apologize for that. If you are someone who enjoys how I was for a while just pumping out videos, it's got to slow down for a little bit, but you know, we'll be fine. Videos will still be made, just at a much slower rate. But with all that said, today we are taking a look at NECA's Alien Fireteam Elite Spitter Alien. I have finally finished collecting all of the Alien Fireteam Elite variants. I wanted to get them all before I review them, just so I know I have them all to review. And yeah, so we're going to be taking a look at the Spitter Alien because it's the coolest looking one out of the four, and I figured I'd just, you know, do the one I want to do first. And if you don't know what Alien Fireteam Elite is, it is pretty much Left 4 Dead, but in the Alien franchise. It's a really fun game. I play it a lot, and if you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. Even if you're not like a big Alien fan, I just think it's an overall really fun, just horde shooter. So, you know, give it a shot if it looks interesting to you. I usually use it for a lot of my background gameplay footage for my Alien videos, and yes, it is me playing the game. I do record that. So, you know, with all that said, let's take a look at NECA's Spitter Alien. And I don't really think this guy needs a huge lore segment. He's not like the Kenner variants where they're these rare, kind of one-of-a-kind variants. We see spitters throughout the entire game. They're just a variant of Xenomorph that looks really cool, and they spit acid at you. So looking at the box with the boy in it, there's the Fireteam Elite logo and the boy, and then on the side we have another picture of him, and on the back we have more pictures of the boy with a brief description of what he is all about, and then some of the other variants that we will be reviewing later in the future. One more last look at the logo and the boy once again. Opening up the box, just first impressions, NECA is always good with that. Just everything is looking promising with the paint and sculpt. So let's go see if this bad boy is really all that. And I didn't realize it till like after, but he comes with a stand, which I think is really cool. NECA normalized this place. So starting off with the articulation in the head region, he can rotate his head 360 degrees. He can bend his head up and down a good amount. He's got to bend it back a lot because this guy's usually prowling. He's hunched over, he's on all fours, and then he can't really tilt his head side to side because of his fat fucking cheeks. But, you know, after that, he's got a pretty good range of motion in the head area. Then moving down to the arms, he can bring his arms up a pretty good amount, rotate them 360 degrees, and, you know, just keep them spinning. And then get into the elbow articulation. He can bring his forearms up a decent amount, not enough to really touch his shoulders, but, you know, good enough for when he's on all fours. And then his hand articulation is rotate 360 degrees and bend the wrist however you want. So keeping it the same old good formula. And then moving down to torso articulation, you can rotate him 360 degrees, have him bend up and down or back and forth depending on how you're looking at it, but you can just pretty much have him wibble wobble all around and have a pretty good range of motion in the torso area. So good to see that the torso articulation is present on this guy. And then moving to the legs, our boy has some Night Cougar Panther legs, and he can't really do a split whether you have him standing up or on all fours, but you can rotate his legs 360 degrees if you really need him to do that. And then when we get to the knees, or the joints where the knees would be, I don't know biology, please don't hurt me, he can have a pretty good range of motion when moving them back and forth. You can pretty much straighten out his legs if you wanted him to do that, get that cursed imagery in your head if you really needed it. But then moving down to the feet, you're not going to be able to rotate them, but just like the other joints in his leg, you can bend them back and forth. So there's that going for you. And overall, pretty good leg articulation on this boy. And for the morbidly curious, here are his legs all straightened out as if he never had the panther-like legs. And then here I am gonna bend one of the legs back into normal formation just to see how different it is compared to the straightened out leg. And yeah, here's this cursed imagery for you. I don't know if you need it or not. And finally, we are at the tail. You can rotate it 360 degrees at the base, and even though there isn't a lot of tail, there is still tail there to manipulate. So whether that's a plus or not for you is personally up to you. I'm indifferent about it. I don't mind. But overall, very happy with the amount of articulation on this boy. Good job, NECA. I'm never going to stop sucking your cock. And as always, we have to cover the second mouth. This is a xenomorph figure, and this is actually one of the smaller second mouths I've seen on a xenomorph figure. And even despite it being on the smaller side, NECA did an amazing job with the paint and sculpt as per usual. But yeah, there is the boy's mouth. And we do technically have an accessory included, and that is the stand. Now, this stand is different from normal NECA stands. It has 2 pegs for both of his feet, and it fits in securely. I shook it around, I flicked it, and it was not coming out. So I'm very happy with this stand. I think it's very cool that NECA decided to include these. Like I said earlier, I think this should be the norm. And then comparing this to a normal NECA stand that they sell in like 10 packs, I do have to say the NECA stand that we usually get is actually worse, and I'm actually happy about that, that a mass-produced, cheap version is not as good as the special included stand. But that's just my take, I guess. And the only nitpick I'm going to give the stand is I wish it was a little bit heavier, because as you can see, I'm trying to pose my xenomorph in like a lunging or just upright pose, and he's just kind of falling over because of how light the stand is, and it just doesn't want to support him. Granted, I do get some shots of him standing upright and looking like he's lunging and not falling off the stand, but it is something that will happen frequently. So I just kind of wish the stand was a little more weighted. And before we take a deeper look into this figure, obviously I like to compare how this boy is different from his normal drone counterpart, and today we are going to use Big Chap as a reference because the aliens in Fireteam Elite are all kind of inspired off of the Big Chap design rather than the Alien Colonial Marines design. But starting with the heads of our boys, starting off with Big Chap, he has the classic cylindrical shaped head with the tubes and the wires on the side, and then he's got the purling silver teeth with this kind of transparent look on the top of his head so you can see his skull. And then looking at the Spitter Alien, he has more of a cone-shaped head, still has the transparent top with a similar shape mouth. He does have silver teeth just like Big Chap. And then when we get to the side of the head, obviously he has big cheeks that are kind of storage sacks for his acid. And then we go down the rest of the side of his head, those tubes that would usually be there are just kind of storage for the acid. And then if we take a look at their shoulders, Big Chap has kind of that round piece on the top of his shoulder where the Spitter Alien doesn't have that at all. So moving down to their arms, both xenomorphs have similar shaped arms. It does seem like a Bigger Chap has the bigger arms because he is the bigger xenomorph, but the Spitter Alien kind of has more muscle to his, tone, his skin, I guess. And then moving down to the hands, they have the same exact hands, the same amount of fingers, the same alignment and everything. And then moving down to their torsos, and honestly I could have chose a better angle for the Spitter Alien, but anyways, we can see that both kind of have the similar, rib cage design, but we can see on the Spitter Alien he has more ribs than Big Chap over here. And then we can see towards the bottom of his torso, it's more of just kind of bones and ooey gooey stuff, whereas our boy Big Chap has these tubes and this pattern and design going on. And then flipping them on their backs for just a moment, looking at their spines, we can see that Big Chap has 5 spines, 4 of them being identical and 1 being dead in the center on top being flat looking. And then the Spitter Alien has 4 spines, but 2 on top are bigger than the ones on the bottom, and they're a little more curved and have kind of ribbage to them. And then moving down to their legs, we can see that Big Chap stands upright while the Spitter Alien is kind of on a all 4 kind of stance. And we can see that Big Chap's legs have more ribbage on the thighs and then are more solid on the calf area of his legs, where if we look at the Spitter Alien, it's all kind of just muscly, and it is thinner. He is a smaller xenomorph, but it does seem like he has more muscle on his leg than flesh. And then when we get to the kind of going back up to the thigh area, you know, Big Chap doesn't really have anything going on at the upper area where we look at the Spitter Alien, and he's got kind of like these spikes or, you know, frails going on. And finally, we are at their tails now. Big Chap's tail is longer and thinner, where we look at the Spitter Alien having a much thicker but shorter tail. And after that, that's the only differences between the tail. They don't have any daggers or anything like that. And we're going to be moving on to size comparisons now, and for which pose I'm going to have him in. I'm going to have him kind of in this in-between pose, because for most of the photos I see online, this is the pose that he's usually in. So this is probably the most accurate size comparison I can give on the guy, because it'd take forever if I did while he's on all fours. He's standing upright like he should not be. But so this is like an in-between that I've been seeing frequently online that I'm going to use for the size comparison. So with all that said, let's get into it. Starting off, we have the Spitter Alien next to Big Chap. Review up on the channel if you want to go check that out after. And then we have him next to the City Hunter, who also has a video up on the channel. Then we have Jazzwares Halo, the Spartan Collection Spartan Gunganier, part of the Spartan 2-pack, which there is also a review up on the channel for. Then we got Jazzwares World of Halo, Halo Infinite Map. Then we have Hasbro's Star Wars, the Black Series Commander Cody. And finally, we have McFarlane's Doomslayer. And here we are at the turntable segment of the video, and for those who don't know what that is, that's pretty much where I go over what I like, dislike, just share my opinion. I wouldn't really call it pros or cons, because that's more fact and fiction, where I just give more subjective thoughts about the figure, you know, just like I said, what I like and dislike, stuff like that. So with all that said, let's go over what I dislike first about this figure, just to get that sour stuff out of the way. And realistically, I only have one issue with this figure, and that is the stand. Now, that doesn't really have to do with the figure itself, more of just I kind of wish the stand weighed a little bit more, because someone out there, someone who just likes to display their figures in action poses, probably wants their Xenomorph who is on all fours in a lunging or an attack pose where not all four of their limbs are planted on the ground. And yeah, this stand is really good. It feels much better than the normal NECA stands that you can buy the 10 packs from. It's just, you know, it sticks well. It doesn't feel like it's going to come off. And I just kind of wish it weighed a little bit more so it could support those more intense, you know, action poses. And yeah, that's probably my only issue with this figure subjectively. And actually, I lied. I do have one more opinion about this figure. And this probably goes for all Xenomorph figures, not just, you know, this guy, but the price point. And I didn't realize this until I started collecting the Predator figures. Xenomorph figures and Predator figures are the same price, but Predator figures will come with all these goodies, swappable parts, just all these accessories and whatnot, and all this love and effort. And, you know, that's for like $39.99, $36.99. And then the Xenomorphs over here come in with like no accessories. You know, I know the Fireteam Elite figures do come with stands, but still they don't really come with anything, and yet they're the same price as the Predators. So I feel like NECA, you should reevaluate the prices for your Xenomorphs, because I feel like it's not really fair to charge, you know, the same price for a Xenomorph that comes with no accessories as a Predator who comes with a shit ton of accessories. So that's, you know, my little rant I wanted to get out, and I speak this opinion about all Xenomorph figures, unless it's like one of the ultimate set ones like Big Chap or the Colonial Marines Alien I did a while back. And now getting into what I do like about this figure, and that this figure is a very good looking and feeling figure. It's got a lot going on for itself, a lot of range of motion with his articulation. You can have him on all fours, you can kind of have him in a middle stance, or you can have him upright. There's just a lot of opportunities for really cool poses with this guy. And then getting into the looks, obviously this is a NECA figure, and you know what I'm going to say at this point. The painting and the sculpting is phenomenal. The blend of colors, all the little details they get, it's just awesome. And just, you know, it is a high quality figure, but just going back to my rant for a second, I don't think that it's worth the $36, $39 price mark for, you know, just a figure that comes with no accessories. But, you know, nonetheless, a very good looking figure, a very good feeling figure. And yeah, that's what I just really like about this boy. So, quick summary, even though I just told you how I feel about this figure, I kind of wish the stand was weighted. I feel like NECA needs to rearrange the prices for their Alien figures, but this figure is good looking and good feeling all around. and tell me down below, what do you think about this figure? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? And what do you like and dislike about this figure? Let's create a discussion down below in the comment section. It's always welcomed. I'm always going to respond because I like talking about this stuff. And yeah, here we are at the outro portion of the video. Like I said, please tell me down below, did you like this figure? If you didn't, why? Just create a discussion down below. Let's be productive and, you know, talk about toys. But if you did like this video, a like and a subscription would be fucking awesome. You don't have to comment because that's a lot of effort, but like I said, discussion is cool. And don't worry about the bell. We both know that shit is broken. And if you did like this review and you want to see more like it, I do a bunch of other Alien NECA videos, I do Predator videos, I do Star Wars, I do Halo, I do a bunch of stuff on the channel. Go check that out if you're interested. And with all that said, go drink some water, stay hydrated, and have a good day because my room is 90 degrees and I am dying. I'm sorry if I sounded dead throughout this video.